Good evening, ladies, and welcome to another awesome empowerment webinar with the fabulous Angel Balachowski. And today we're going to be talking about how to get everything you want in 4 simple steps. So I'm super excited to hear what these 4 steps are. So take it away, Angel.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Thank you for having me here again tonight, and I hope you guys are having a good night. Thanks for making some time to be here and allowing me to do this for you guys. Tonight is just going to be simple. It is 4 steps. Actually, this is a training that I took. It was part of a paid-for training that I took with Diane Hochman in her Deep Abyss, and it's actually an ongoing training that she does. So it's really good. But this was one of the ones that she did back last year, and I just thought of it today because I was, thinking what could we train on, what would be good, and I remembered that this training gave me permission in so many ways to totally change how I viewed myself and how it just simplified my business for me. And I think that's what we all need, is just to have it be simple. So these 4 steps are what she taught on. So she actually got this from Jim Rohn. He had given her a book and taught her on this. And the book that he gave her is called If You Count to 4 by Jim Jones. And Jim Jones is the one who had given Jim Rohn the book. Jim Rohn gave it to Diane. Now, if you are in the industry and you don't know who Jim Rohn is, you can search him and find him. He's amazing. He's no longer with us, but he was an industry legend, and just his training will be, stand the test of time, because he just he was amazing at what he did and what he taught on and the type of person that he was. So definitely search him. It's Jimrohn. But so she shared this with us, and just very simple, just information that you need, and the mindset stuff is my favorite stuff to teach on, because it's the stuff that we need to hear. It's the stuff that we need the reminder on all the time, and you can never get too much of it. So even if this is, some of the things will overlap things that I've taught on before on the mindset, but everything's a refresher, right? And sometimes you hear something from a different perspective and it'll make you see it totally differently. But because this is so simple, and I really believe in simplifying life, I believe in having things work for you instead of working so hard for things. So that's what this is going to be about. So the topic is 4 steps to accomplish anything. This is anything. This can be your business. This can be small things. This can be, if you want something super minimal, maybe you want somebody to bring you a cup of coffee, you can use these 4 steps on anything that you want to accomplish in your life. So it's absolutely something that you can share with friends and family as well, and help them with things that they're wanting. So the first thing is very simple. Identify what you want. But identifying what you want sometimes isn't very simple. A lot of times if you ask somebody straight out, well, what do you want the end result of this to be? They don't know. I do a lot of blog building for people, and we have a branding consultation call, and I'll say to them, what is the end result that you want out of this blog? And a lot of times they want a bunch of different things, but it's like, what is the ultimate goal that you have for what you're doing, or what is it that you ultimately want? And in the end, most times, 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to be that they want to recruit people, that they want to make money with the blog. And so that's what it always comes down to. But in the beginning, they don't actually know what they want. And if you don't know what you want, you can't get it. If you don't have an idea of where you're going, or what it is that you want to achieve, you're not going to get it. So if you come into, we'll of course talk about home business industry the most, because that's what most of us are in here. And if you come into the home business industry and you're just excited about the products, and somebody's told you about the business, and you come into it and you just kind of start flying by the seat of your pants, but you don't have an actual vision for where you're going, or what you want, or what you'd actually like to achieve with this business, then you may find that you're spinning your wheels a lot, and you're chasing your tail, and you're just kind of figuring it out as you go, and really not actually building something that sustains the test of time. And so you really want to be able to sit down and figure out, what do I want? What do I want out of this business? What do I want out of my income for this business? What am I going to do to get there? What is it that I really want to achieve? And most of us want that income level that we're striving towards, right? Most of us want more time. Most of us want security. And most of us want to be able to afford what we want, like to be able to afford the things that we want and to be able to provide for our families and to be able to leave a legacy, right? So that's generally, all of us when we get bit with the home business bug, that's generally the life that we see ahead of us. So just make sure that you know exactly what you want. And some people, I've noticed as well, come into the home business industry thinking that's what they want, and they actually don't. Some people don't want that greatness. Some people, maybe they secretly want it, but it overwhelms them so much that they actually don't allow themselves to want it because they're afraid of it. So that's another thing we can talk about some other time, but just identify what you want and know what it is that you want to accomplish in the long run. Then the second step, very simple, pretend it already exists. So if there's a certain rank that you're headed towards, if there's a certain income, if it is to be debt-free, you need to start pretending now that all of that exists. And the best way that I can say to allow this to happen is remember the feeling that you first had. Some of us are brand new in this. Some of us have been in the industry for a long time. I've been in for a few years now, and I'm absolutely an advocate for it. I absolutely love the network marketing industry. But remember that feeling that you had when you first started, when you first had that freedom vision, that vision that this might actually be the answer, that this is the answer for you, that this is what you need, this is how you can actually accomplish things, this is how you can get out of debt, this is how you can, assist your family, change your life, change your kids' life, change the path that your family's been on for all these years, anything like that. You know, that adrenaline rush almost when you started realizing what was actually in your hands with this industry before it maybe got a little bit complicated, before you started having to hammer out everything and really figure out the industry, that feeling that you had that when you first started. And then can you just hold on to that? Because that feeling that you had is when you were imagining it existing. And so if you can hold on to that feeling every single day, you can pretend it already exists. If you really know where you're going and you know what you want, you can pretend that it already exists because you believe. That is your commitment to the belief that this is happening. When you start to pretend it already has happened. And when you start to pretend it already has happened, you can't start to doubt that it's not going to, because you're already feeling it. You're already walking around with your head held high. When we're excited, we carry a different level of energy about us, and we're going to draw things to our life. If you're walking around not sure, if you know what you want but you're not sure that you can get it, you're always going to attract a negative result. You're always going to attract the opposite of what you want to have happen, but actually because you're thinking that way, you're getting what you want, because you're thinking about the things that you don't want to have happen or the things that might not happen, and that's what's going to come to you. So pretending it already exists is going to, it magically in the universe opens up all the doors of possibility to you, and everything that you want is going to come to you because you are acting as if. And I've seen people come into say my own team even. There's been two different types of people come in. There's been people come in that come into the team, see the vision, and know they're going to be a leader on this team. They just know it. They own it. They're like, I am going to be the leader. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a team of thousands. I am so excited. And even though it hasn't, even nearly happened because they've just started, they start attracting people to them. They start recruiting. They start building their business. People start to come to them. They're looking to them for advice. They're building their business. That's what happens. And then I've seen other people come in to the business who are not so sure that they can be a leader, who are very doubtful that this could actually happen for them. They've been bit by the possibility and the great opportunity, but they're still not sure of themselves as a leader. And I've seen those people struggle. So there's two different types, and that's not always the case, with why people struggle. But I've just seen that in both examples in my team, where somebody is sure they're a leader and not sure they're a leader, and those results happen. And just like Amanda is one of the most amazing leaders on my team, and she's attracted some fantastic people to her because her energy already stated that she was the leader, that she was going to be a leader on this team. She's rank advancing, she's getting acknowledged by uplines, like she came in and owned that immediately, and that's what she drew around her. So it's very cool to see those kind of things happen. Or if you want to be a six-figure income earner, can you pretend that that already exists for you? I love thinking about the things that I'm going to have and the things that, I'm still drawing into my life. And it's not really a cocky attitude, right? But it's just that knowing that it's coming, and you carry yourself a little bit with more confidence. When you're talking to friends and family, nothing really affects you that much anymore because you know where you're going and you know what's coming. And even if somebody comes at you with a little bit of doubt, you can just shake it off because you can understand that they just don't know. It's not in their mind, right? They don't know how to pretend it exists. They don't know the possibilities in these 4 steps. And so just know that you know, and that's all that you need, okay? So then the next is that you say no to interference. Things are going to come at you when you know where you're going and you start to act like it is happening, and you act as if it's happening. Stuff is going to come at you left, right, and center to try to stop you. There's going to be distractions with family, even just silly little distractions like that try to take up your time during the day. There's going to be things here and there that are going to come at you. A lot of times when we come into the industry, we'll spend, even some people even just a week, some people 30 days, but if they don't get the results that they're looking for, they'll start to look for other shiny objects, right? Either other businesses, or they'll look for tools. There's got to be tools to do this faster, right? And so they'll get caught up in the tools, and they'll start to learn the tools when all they needed to be doing was building their business and following what was being taught. There's new techniques coming out all the time. We're being hit with them left, right, and center in our email, on Facebook, by people messaging us, by people sending us information. We're on the internet. We see something. The ads are running. Everything is coming at us to try to interfere with our success. When you come into the home business industry, or if you're just building your team now, just stay focused there. Don't try to learn a new tool. Don't try to, and I've done this myself. I've spent months focused in a totally different area when all I've wanted to do before was build a team, and now with this team that we have now, I focused on building a team, and guess what I have? A team. A team that's duplicating and multiplying, right? And so I let go at that point when I joined this team, and it is a perfect example because I was an internet marketer. I am an internet marketer. And I had tools and systems that I was focused on, and I was focused on building that residual income there. And when I decided to come into this opportunity, it was now 8 months ago, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going 100% all in because of what we have. And I just decided I'm letting everything else go, and not necessarily, not failing on any people or anything like that, but just letting the focus off of all of those other things, off of my blog, off of my attraction marketing systems, off of everything else that I was doing, all the content that I was putting out. I let it all go. And probably if anybody's an internet marketer, you're like, are you crazy after all that effort? But I knew what I wanted to achieve here, and I knew what was coming for my team. I knew that my team was going to need me, and I couldn't be in 2 separate places. You have to stay focused. So when I dropped everything and dropped all the shiny objects and stopped paying attention to anything else that was coming at me, when people come at me with tools and they're like, oh, this will help you build your network marketing, it's like, no. I know how to build my network marketing team. You build a network marketing team by talking to people. I don't need a tool. I don't need that now. When you're totally successful and your residual income's running on autopilot for you, then you can set up systems. Then you can focus more on being that leader that has all those extra things. But for right now, if you're building a team, focus on building your team. And so you can also look at your past as an example of what you need to say no to in interference. Where you are now is where you are because of your past actions. And so what things should you have said no to in your past? If you can look back and look at the things that you've spent time on, spent money on, wasted time on, where could you have cut that back, and make sure going forward that you're able to recognize those things as they come at you. Top earners are trained that money comes to them naturally, that it's easy to make money, that you can make money on demand. And so they're not looking at all these extra little things. If you're a top earner in a company, you know that you can create money, so you're not always searching out different tools and ways, and people actually start to come to you. You can create a business where people are coming to you for speaking engagements and for a bunch of different things. So once you get to that level, you just know what to do, but you need to build the business to get to that level. And then so the fourth thing is to engage and control your subconscious mind. You have total power over your imagination, and you have power, and the power of your subconscious will create all of this for you. So that is the fourth step in all of this, because as you know what you want, and as you start to believe it, and as you start to say no to other things, you then need to start controlling your mind, because your mind will be the only thing that will try to sabotage you from being able to accomplish that. So your mind is always thinking. That's one thing you need to know. It's always thinking. We know that, but do we ever really think about that? We're always thinking, constantly, 24/7. Your mind is always going. But you can only think one thought at a time. So you can't be thinking about two different things. You can't be thinking about two different people. You can think about them together, but you can't think of them separately. It's just like sometimes I will be listening to a training and then pick up my phone and start to read a message, thinking that I'm going to still be engaging in that training and also reading the message on my phone. And every single time that I start to do something else other than listening to the training, I totally miss what they said on the training, and I have to rewind it. You can't be thinking two different things. Your mind cannot be thinking in two different thoughts. So because of that, the great thing about it is you can pick the thought that you want and hold it in your mind with willpower. So knowing that you can only think one thing, as soon as you start to feel yourself thinking things that you don't want to think, then you can change that into being that person and thinking those things that that person that you want to be would be thinking. And so you can hold on to those thoughts, and you can really train your mind to start bouncing back any negative thinking. And you can start only focusing on where you're going, really having that visualized thought pattern of what you're going to be, who you are. If your thought pattern needs to be, I am the top earner in my company. I am a six-figure income earner. I am a home business woman that is making six figures, and I live in such and such an area. Like whatever it is for yourself that you want, just have that thought, have that constant thought that you can always go to in your mind and hold on to, because we're a living result of all the thoughts that we've had in the past. Everything in your life right now, where you're at, is the result of thinking. So if you're in a not so great situation in some aspects of your life, you can probably look back and pinpoint why. Did you think that that was what was going to happen? Did you think that you shouldn't have made that decision and then that was going to be the end result? Did you think that when you were taking a step towards something that you were going to fail at it and then you ended up failing? Everything that's happened in your life has been a result of your thinking. Circumstances are different. Your circumstances around you, if you're born into something, that's not a result of your thinking, but whether or not you stay there is. If you think that you're that person, if you think that that's who you are, and that you've got limits on your life, then you're going to have that in your life. So when you start to think more broad and more and bigger for yourself, when you start to think about the possibilities and think about coming out of things and think about being that person that totally breaks free of any labels that labeled you in the past, or that your family's been labeled as, you can be that person that changes. And it seriously is just as simple as those 4 steps. So there's the whole thing about faking it until you make it, right? There's a lot of people out there that act like they're one thing and even charge people money for training if they haven't actually accomplished anything themselves, where they're actually faking and lying about who they are. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to lie and say that you're at a certain place that you're not. But what you can do in your conversations with people, and one thing that I did when I started this team, when I joined, and I would have conversations with people, new people that I wanted to recruit, I didn't have a team yet. But when I spoke to the people that I was talking to, I was telling them about the team that I was going to build. And I was telling them about the things that our team was going to accomplish. And I was telling them about the thousands and thousands of people that were going to be in our downline. And so that's the conversations that I had. So that's what you need to do. And that's why you need to decide what it is that you want so that you can have those conversations with people, so that when you are, that will totally take your prospecting from no results to closing, because people will know where you're going and you'll finally believe it. So when you start to talk about the vision that you have, instead of, facts and numbers, and, I always hear so many people say, oh, well, I'm not making any money yet. But you don't need to tell people that. That's okay. You don't have to tell them that. You just tell them how much you plan on making, what you plan on doing, and that's what's going to draw people to be with you. So just, the best thing that I can decide, or the best thing that I can advise, is that you start to study leaders, and that you really, engage in what they're doing, and understand what they're doing, and really focus on how they're conducting themselves. If you don't know how to pretend it already exists in your life, then you need to see how they're living, and so that you can get a visualization. And whether or not it's reading fancy magazines, or just engaging in, sometimes I watch the real estate shows, the $1 Million Listing, even though I absolutely love them. I watch it just for the wealth. I want to study these people. I want to know what it is that they do. How do they talk? How do they act? And really just understand that. So if you're stuck right now, if you're in your business and right now you're like, I'm not doing anything, I feel like I'm just not moving forward, there's one of these steps, or maybe more, that you're not doing. So if it's right at the beginning, have you decided what you want? Have you? Can you honestly say that you definitely know? If you had to take a pen to paper right now, could you write down what you want, the actual end result of what you want? And if you can't, then that's where you're being held back. That's where you need to start. Or if that's fine and you know what you want, do you walk around owning it, and really owning it? And as women, we know how to own things, right? Like, we know how, when you have gone out shopping and you've bought like an awesome pair of shoes or boots or awesome outfit, or you just got made up, or your hair just got done, you walk around a little bit different. When you feel good about yourself, you carry yourself differently. When you enter a room, heads turn. When you are in that great confident mood, your energy is just flowing out of you, and people are noticing that, and they're like, whoa, who is that person? And so that's what you want to be doing right now. That's what you want to learn how to do, because once you've decided where you're going, you'll be able to walk around with that confidence. And if it's not that, is there interference in your life? Is it people or systems, or some people trying to hold you back? Do you have, systems that are coming at you? Are you trying to work too many things? Does your team have a system for you? Are you able to follow something? Is there something that you need to get? If your team isn't lining out for you what you need to be doing, then you need to figure out what it is that you need to do, and you need to go to somebody that can show you, because it is very simple. You can really, building this business is as simple as talking to people and sharing your business. That's really, honest to goodness, talking, sharing, closing. That's all you need to do. You talk with people, you share your vision, then you share the presentation with them, and then you close them. You're just collecting a decision. That's it. That's it. Every single day, day in and day out, that's how you build a business. And then you lead your team. You lead your team to be able to do the same thing. There's nothing else that is involved. There's nothing else that needs to be done, but you just need to know how it works best for your business. So one tool is going to work the best. Find out what people are using to close. Find out what they're saying to people, what is in their script that they're saying in the beginning. Write out your vision for where you're going so that you know how to share it with people. And just, that's it. It's just boom, boom, boom. It's really getting into that hustle mode. It's getting into that, okay, I've decided that's it. I'm owning it. I'm going out and I'm going to do it. My mind is going to be controlled by knowing that I'm creating this, and I am just going to go out and do the work. And it really keeps it simple. So you should be able to follow the steps of your team. And if for some reason you're on a confused team, or you're not sure that this can actually work with your team, then maybe you need to assess where you're at. Assess if you're in the most perfect thing. Assess where, you know, what is really going to be that vehicle that gets you to what you want. If you know what you want and you can act as if, but you can't take those steps to get there with where you're at, then you might need to assess those things. And you might need to create the systems yourself. Sometimes we all need to step up as a leader, especially for our teams, or maybe you don't have a team, but you got to create a system. Maybe, you know, the team that you're on just doesn't know either. They just don't know. And so you've got to really create that and just be that leader that steps out and does that. So until you've mastered doing that, until you've mastered talking to people, sharing a presentation, closing them and enrolling them, don't do anything else. There's nothing else that needs your focus. This really can be kept simple. If you are truly a person who's come into the home business industry, you love your products and you want to build your business and you found your home, don't do anything else other than that until you've mastered it, until you're at an income level that you are comfortable with, that you can start to put some time into other things without your team unraveling. And my daughter's in here. You want to be able to just focus on that. And a lot of times we like to make our life more confusing than it needs to be, because that's what keeps us from taking the steps we need to take. So if you're doing that, stop using confusion as an excuse. And that might be hard to hear, but if you're using that you're confused, if you're saying that you're confused and you don't know what to do, that's just an excuse, because it's easy. It's simple. This industry is simple. If you check out anybody's story, any top earner, they've all just done these things. They went out and they hustled hard. I was on a webinar the other night, and the whole thing that they were sharing was how he went from zero. Can you turn just a second? Can you turn that off, Asha, please? Yeah. How he went from making zero to making $40,000 a month in 7 months. And it was this big secret that was going to be revealed on the webinar. And what had he done? And in the end, you know what he had done? He had talked to a lot of people. He prospected like crazy. And, you know, he went out for his 20 no's a day. He made sure that he was collecting 20 no's a day. He would not go to bed until he got 20 no's, which meant that he was getting yeses as well, right? And so that's what he did. And I thought, you know, isn't that so funny? So many people are on this webinar tonight because they wanted that one thing that he did to get from zero to 40,000 a month. And it was talking to people. So that's this business, and that's what you'll find when you actually do come around and build the team. And it's exactly the same for me as well, because my network marketing team always suffered because I was so focused on my internet marketing and knowing the tools and knowing how to build online and all of that. The actual team always suffered. And now that I focused on what needs to be done, if you truly want to build a network marketing team, the results are completely different, and I have what I wanted and what the vision was. So that's my advice to you. You can build the attraction marketing side of things. I just recommend waiting until you have a team that's sustained. Be that leader for them. Don't be that leader that brings in a bunch of people and gives them a little bit of direction and then takes off because you think that you've done what you needed to do and you're going to go work on some other things. Don't do that. Get them to the level that they want to be at. You've committed to be there with these people. Get them where they want to go. You led them in with your vision. Give them their vision. Start to work on their why and start to see what they see for their life and have that be in your mind as well. And then you'll start to think more as a leader, and you'll start to do this business a lot differently. So just remember that. And then the fourth thing is, if you're still stuck and all those other sides are covered, your 1, 2, 3 is done, is it number 4 that's stopping you? Do you have control of your mind, or is it all over the place? Are you allowing your mind to control you? Are you letting your negative thoughts, your past, your regret, what you think you should be doing, all of those things, if you've been down on yourself, hard on yourself, you don't know if you're smart enough, you don't know if you can do this, are you letting that language be active in your mind? Even if you don't believe it necessarily, are you letting that be your thoughts? Is that what you're hearing in your mind? And then that's when you really got to work on that mind control and really stopping those thoughts and replacing it. And there's lots of different techniques that we shared in the other webinars that you can use to do that. So if you need any of the other training, just let us know. But there's lots that you can do to control your mind and your thoughts. And all of this might sound kind of weird, but this is a personal development industry. This is what we learn here. And the more stories you listen to, I suggest you study those leaders. Like I said, go out and hear their stories, whether or not it's in your company or if you want to follow some leaders. Susan Sly's story is amazing. Amber Voigt's story is amazing. Sarah Robbins is an amazing leader. And just follow their stories and find out what they did to get where they are. And they all had that common denominator where they just worked hard and they talked to a lot of people. And they did that over and over and over again every single day until they got what they wanted. Recently I saw it on Eric Worre's page, and I shared it in my team group, but he interviewed a girl, I think she was making $70,000 a month, and he was like, what was your secret to success, or whatever it was, I can't remember exactly, but she was just like, I spent every single hour of every single day talking to people constantly. She's like, this is not an easy industry. You don't get to $70,000 a month by not doing the work. You hustle hard. You make that decision and you go after it like your life depends on it. But would you do that for, I think she did it for 18 months or 2 years or something where it was like every single day. And it's like, would you do that to get to that level? Absolutely right. Most of us would. Some people won't. Some people won't put in that effort. But if you've decided that this is the industry for you, then that's what you need to do. And even though that might sound maybe daunting to some people, where it's like, oh my gosh, so I've really just got to crack down and do the things that I've been taught or do the things that I secretly probably knew is what I needed to be doing, but I've been avoiding. It really will simplify your life. When all you know is that you need to wake up in the morning, find people to talk to them, share it with them, close them, collect their decision. It's very simple. Then there's nothing else in your day that you need to do for your business. Then as you grow your team, make sure that part of your day is leading your team, reaching out to your team, doing your three-way calls with your team. And what I love about this is like I said in the beginning, and that's why I said it, is I love to simplify people's lives. I don't believe that we were put on this earth to work like crazy for all of our life. I believe that building this business takes a lot of work. For 18 to 36 months, you're probably going to be quite busy, but it's worth it. And so I believe that after you've put in that effort, that's when you should be able to enjoy the time. That's when you figure out how to make this business work for you so that you have more time. You can hire people to do certain things. You can start to free up your time and make it simple, because I think as moms and as women, we're busy enough day in and day out. We've got enough going on, and we tend to take on more and more and more until we are so frazzled and so busy every single day that we don't understand how we're ever going to have a minute to ourselves, and that's the last thing you want. So take out all the trash that's filling up your day that is not building your business. Take it out, stop it, drop it. That's what I did. I just dropped it. It was like, that's not important anymore. I email my list once a week now instead of every single day. And I wasn't doing it every single day anyways. It was that little monkey on my back, like, oh, you're supposed to email your list. You're supposed to email your list. Well, no, now I just do it once a week. They get an email once a week. If they want to unsubscribe, that's fine. I'm not worried about it anymore. I focus on my leads. I focus on my team. I focus on recruiting, and that's it. And so hopefully this helped some of you with your business. Those 4 steps are very simple. The first 3 are the easiest. The 4th is the hardest, because that's where you have to control your mind. You have to control yourself and allow yourself to own it. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not the person that you see yourself as. Don't let anybody step into your mind and make you think differently. You can easily walk around owning it. If you need any support, you have it in Amanda's group, in the Lady Boss Marketing group. There's tons of amazing women in there. And if you're having a down day or you're trying to do these 4 steps and you're stuck, just do a post in there and say, hey, ladies, I'm trying to really simplify my business and keep it where I'm just focused on business building, and I'm working on these 4 steps to keep it simple, but I'm stuck here today. Like, anybody have any advice? And for sure, Amanda will jump in. If I'm in there, I'll jump in, but all the other women will as well. And that's what we're here for, is to support each other. So I am done for tonight. I don't even know what time it is. I don't know if that was short or long or not. But I'm going to bring you back out. Amanda, I think you probably muted yourself. I'm just
I
going to...
did mute
Okay.
myself.
There you go. Thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, thank you for doing this. This is really amazing, actually. I love this webinar. I've loved all your webinars, but this one specifically because I had issues with my mindset, as you know, because we've discussed it. And the minute that I turn that around, the minute that I figured it out and I saw things differently is when my business started booming.
Yeah.
So I used to think this kind of stuff was hokey, like, oh, if you think about things, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you think these things are kind of silly, but literally it works. If you think it and you believe it and you go out there and you get it and you don't let anybody like say that this is not going to happen for you, or if they do, you just don't listen to them, it
Mm-hmm.
starts happening. So
Yeah.
it's really incredible, and I'm glad you did this one tonight, because I
Awesome.
think this is something that you can play when you're feeling a little like, oh, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing. Just listen to this one again, and it'll bring you right back to where you need to be. So
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I totally agree. And I mean, it can be just simple things too, right? Where you just for anything during your day, you change your mindset. And even around, I notice it around my kids a lot. Like if I change my mindset around my kids, their behavior changes. And when I'm in a funky mindset, they're acting up. Or if I'm, when I'm super positive, things are just smoother. So it definitely, I was like you, I was like, I don't understand all this stuff. But the more I listened and the more I listened and then the more I applied, I was like, oh, wow, this really is the secret to everything that you want. So
it
it's
really is, and it seems crazy, but it's not. When you start doing it, it's amazing. And I'm really glad we have this, and I'm gonna save the link to this when you give it to us because I think this is a
awesome.
really important one to have. So
Awesome. Thank you. Well,
thank
thank
you
you.
so
And
much.
thank you, ladies. And we'll be back again next week for something else. If anybody has any suggestions or any questions or wants a certain topic, just let us know and we'll do it.
All right,
Awesome.
have a good evening.
Okay, you too. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night.